But Steve Scalise, it's just funny. This is easy. It's not genius comedy here, but it's still funny. With the Halloween deadline set, Steve Scalise said, "Scary." Scary is the word used by House Republican Steve Scalise, who's the Republican whip. Yeah, he gave an interview to Maria Bartiromo on Sunday Morning Futures, and he said, quote, "Now Nancy Pelosi, I guess ironically, is saying that on Halloween, that is going to be the next vote on this package that should be scary to every family in America because it would raise taxes that every family would have to pay, not just the rich, which is true. It would kill millions of jobs. It would make us less competitive. It would be a gift to countries like China. But they're tying all of that and holding the infrastructure package hostage to this bill that's directly linked together. Even President Biden admitted when he came to the Capitol on Friday that the two bills are linked. They are sewn together. It's a multi-trillion-dollar package. Even if they get the so-called Manchin compromise, that's the $1.5 trillion bill instead of $3.5, it would devastate America's economy and would really be a kick in the gut to the middle class. I can't argue with anything Scalise is saying here. And Scalise also pointed out that Pelosi has already missed how many deadlines that she set for voting on the bipartisan infrastructure bill. So that keeps getting pushed out further and further and further. And now, of course, we have the Halloween deadline. So, ooh, it's spooky, it's scary, and that's easy comedy. But listen, he's right. Scalise is right. I'll tell you what, Steve Scalise might even say that Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats' $3.5 trillion and the Bernie Sanders. You realize that $3.5 trillion was not even enough for Bernie Sanders. You realize that? But the likes of Bernie Sanders and your AOCs and your Giant Powell and Ilhan Omar, this spending number, the $3.5 trillion, is a number that comes at enormous cost. And that's why they've held up the $1.2 trillion, because they want them all jammed together. And it is a scary proposition. And the degree of government handouts and what would be some of the largest socialism-like programs and policies would be launched with this. So could you turn back? There are elements of this that would fundamentally remake this country in a way that ultimately we should not do. In a way that would be a net negative on this country. It would make people more dependent on government. It would make government larger, not smaller. We want less government, not more government. And the lies about, the taxes will not go up on the majority of Americans. No. You're talking about corporate tax hikes, folks, which are, of course, going to be passed on to every single American with additional hikes in prices, etc. I mean, come on, who are they fooling? It would be an absolute gift to China, and yes, it would be an absolute gut punch to the middle class in this country. It's crazy money. Now, I want to spend a moment, before I get into the Supreme Court, which will probably launch cleanly with the Supreme Court, and the new session that has begun will probably launch cleanly in hour number 2, and there's a lot of important things. I mean, you want to talk about ground rumbling? There are some serious Supreme Court decisions that could come down in this term. So what do you need to know? We'll explain in just a bit. But I'm not going to sit here. Back over to our debt, which is already enormous, close to the $30 trillion mark. And listen, that does include all the unfunded liabilities, which clearly pushes us to over $100 trillion if you add all unfunded liabilities. But I'm looking at numbers here from ProPublica, and yeah, the story was published with the Washington Post as well, but it just talks about how much the national debt went up during the Trump administration. So I can't rewrite history, nor will I. We're in a sad spot, though, where if I'm complaining about adding to the national debt during the Biden administration, of which I am, and we do not need to add $4.7 trillion additional dollars. That is a non-starter, and it just has to stop. But I would be an absolute hypocrite if I didn't point out how much the national debt went up during the Trump administration. And realize I'm mentioning this, I'm speaking about this at the risk of, and I know that we'll get angry phone calls from some listeners. They'll attack Sue, my producer. They'll call up cursing at her. I'm sure I'll get some nasty comments on social media.